And how are we doing today, folks? Good afternoon. This is Dreaming with another book review for you. Before we get started here, of course, as always, if you want to see or keep in touch with my content as it comes out, do hit the subscribe button below there. Leave a comment. Let me know how things are, how things are going, positive or negative. Hey, it all helps me in the end, helps me improve. Let me know what you want to see, or if you have suggestions or you have questions. I'll be happy to answer them as best as I can. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Today I'm doing another Right Hand Path book review. This is another book from the Gallery of Magick, and we are going to be doing a review on Wealth Magic by Damon Brand. Well, I've already done a couple book reviews on Damon Brand at this point. This particular book was probably one of the first 3 or 4 books that I had purchased from the Gallery of Magick through Amazon.com. Like a lot of my books back then, I was buying digital copies before I had purchased the hardcover copies. Hey, I recommend that highly to anybody if you are just starting out in your magical practice and you don't have all the money you need to buy some of the books you want. I seriously recommend buying digital copies. I want to say my digital copy of this when I bought it, say for about maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago really, probably ran me about $4, maybe $5. Whereas like if you buy the actual physical copy, you're probably talking closer to 20. So do consider buying digital copies in order to get with your practices. In order to start out, plus the idea that they're downloaded almost immediately to your phone, your tablet. It's going to save you a lot of time. You're not going to have to wait for the books to come in the mail, potentially get lost or anything like that. And plus, later on, if for whatever reason you lose it, you can always go back to Amazon.com and re-download the digital copy, back to your tablet. So, I highly recommend that, folks. There is a few books digital books in the past that I've gotten where it just didn't read well because there was like a page missing or something like that. And one of the reasons why I ended up getting hard copies later was, I wanted to have physical access to a lot of the sigils and the seals in the book, and be able to make physical copies for myself and for my grimoires. You really don't have to do that. The sigils still work, in the digital format. But again, just my suggestion. So, moving forward with the book review, on the back it does say the magical operations in this book are not about attracting a little extra cash. They're about creating a completely new lifestyle based on a flow of extreme prosperity. Only go ahead if you generally want to focus on creating wealth and if you are willing to accept the challenges and changes that come with extreme wealth. That rings to a T regarding this book. Just a quick story. When I got this book, I was working at a resort as a front desk agent, and I had basically had this book for a couple months, and I had started doing the rituals. And just so you know, there are 7 rituals actually in this book. And the way that I broke it down was Um, like the first ritual in the book takes 17 days. So I would do it for 17 days and then rest. And then usually I would skip a month. I would let that energy flow come in and then like do the next ritual. I think the next ritual is like 33 days. So it takes a little bit more than a month, obviously. And then, so I would do it and then rest until, the next month. Basically, I was just kind of, I wasn't trying to rush it. I was wanting to complete the 7 rituals within the time frame of a year, um, which is really what I ended up doing to begin with. And it was a great benefit to me. And let me, again, I kind of cut myself off at the beginning of the story, but what happened was I was a front desk agent, and I was looking for a change within the company that I worked for. And I ended up applying with our housekeeping department. And I ended up getting the job, and I firmly believe that has a lot to do with the practices in this book. Okay. When I went in for that interview for a possible transfer in departments, I went in and I said, "Hey, look, I want to be able to get out more. I'm stuck behind the desk. Didn't really care for that type of work, and I was basically going for a housekeeping inspector position." I said, "Well, it's like, hey, I'm here for a housekeeping inspector, but I'm really looking to advance further. I'm thinking about, what's the next, step after this. Where do I go from there?" That's what I'm, looking at. And so, for that was basically a housekeeping supervisor at that point. So I had, I got the job and I transferred departments. Um, Ended up getting a pay raise, which a lot of people, which people at the front desk said, "Oh, you're not going to get a pay raise. You're moving departments." And but I ended up getting actually a dollar pay raise from what I was making at the front desk, even though I was losing my commissions that I earned as a front desk agent. Um, it actually benefited me more because at the front desk level, you weren't allowed to get overtime. Uh, you can only work your 40 hours a week, and that was it. Well, when I moved departments, not only did I end up getting a dollar pay raise to go from a front desk agent to a housekeeping inspector, I also was a member of the largest department on the property at that point, and we were understaffed. And a lot of days I would actually every day, and I did this for about 2 months. Um, what had happened, and I'll explain why I only did it for 2 months, but um, I went in as a housekeeping inspector in the morning. I would start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We would inspect all the rooms until they were done, which is usually around 5 or 6-ish. And then I would go up to the laundry department and basically run stuff. And I would work as a runner for the rest of the night until midnight. So we would have guests that call and say, "Hey, I need towels in my room," or "Hey, I need some more soap," or we had accident in our room. Can someone come in here and clean this up or whatever? And so I was one of those people that would go ahead and was doing those things. And so I was able to work from 8 a.m. until midnight every day, 5 days a week. I always made sure I kept my 2 days off because I wanted to make sure I was going to have rest. I didn't want to wear myself out. And I did that every day for 2 months that I was in housekeeping. The overtime pay was just tremendous. Okay. Now, why did it only last 2 months? Well, we ended up having, for those of you that are familiar with it, the fires here that happened in the Smoky Mountains back in 2016 kind of turned events around for the employer that I worked at, because a large part of our property was destroyed in that fire. The funny thing about this story, though, is that when I was in that position, like the Friday right before the fires happened, the following Monday, which was November 29th, I was speaking with one of my housekeeping managers, and he had said, well, you're actually, one of our best candidates for a supervisor position to become supervisor next. And so, we get our eye on you. We're watching you. And so literally it's like, bam, Monday happened, and then, fires, and they went, okay, yeah, no one's getting overtime. And no one's getting promoted. And I was like, oh, damn, that kind of sucks. But I kept working regardless. I kept doing what I had to do. I kept doing, putting myself out there. And by this time it was December. I was just finishing up my seventh working, the seventh working here in the Wealth Magick book. And 2 days after Christmas, I was approached by my assistant director, and she says, hey, I got a proposition for you. Do you want to move to Branson, Missouri? And it comes with a promotion. And of course, with the promotion, obviously, there's more money involved. And being a single person at the time, I didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have any commitment, not a lot of stuff going on. I went, yeah, of course, and a week later, there I was. I had moved out of where I was at into a new town, a new position. Again, my earnings went up. I went to earning, I don't remember what I was earning as a inspector, maybe 22,000, 23,000 a year, but I jumped in my earnings to making being a single guy making $30,000 a year as a housekeeping supervisor. And I do believe that I owe a lot of that to my practices, obviously as a chaos magician at the time, and this book. And so that's one of the reasons why I recommend this book. If you're really going to do this, you're going to follow through, and if you really want to see those changes, they're going to happen, but you're going to have to work for them. Okay, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. Just stick with the program, do the rituals, follow through. It's not hard, people. There's like some words in here you got to be able to pronounce, but Damon Brand makes it pretty much pronunciation proof. I mean, it's almost idiot proof. If you can just follow the pronunciations as he has them, written out, I mean, you're halfway there. Okay, I'm not gonna say you're golden, but you're halfway there. So with that, that is my recommendation for the day. Again, if you like what you're seeing, again, please hit the subscribe button below there. Let me know how everything's going and what I can do to help you out. And with that, folks, you have a great day. I appreciate your time. Take care. Bye.